going back to that hard moment, this dark place you went in your mind, in your personal life story, you lost your husband. What gave you strength during that time? What were the places you went to your mind in terms of
Mhm.
personal struggle, in terms of maybe even depression
Oh,
or these kinds of struggles?
I think for me, when my person passed away, I went to maybe my friends could see what was going on, maybe they couldn't, I don't know. But on the surface, I looked like I was fine. But what happened is the only thing I think that kept me around as I thought about it was the job to be done. These women relied on me, and I was no longer free. I did not own myself, and they said it in those words: "You don't own yourself anymore." And it was true, but it helped me because I was able to, sometimes whatever it takes to keep you around, whatever it takes. And that's what I would tell people who feel like they can't just push one more push and they think they need to end it. At that point, whatever it takes, just stick around for one more second because the next second, So I stuck around because of duty. I felt a very strong sense of duty. My duty was, in this case, I think, stronger than my pain. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know how that was possible, but it was. And and I just pushed my grief under the rug for years. For years, I worked like a mad lady. I would travel. I would do 3 states in 3 days, landing at 2 in the morning, around 5 or 6, going to ride along with our distributors because it was beverage, and just keep going and have all of this energy and look like everything is fine. But what happened was just like I was focused on the job to be done, and sometimes it is okay to do that. At least for me, it was my safety. Like when you're in the water and you're about to sink, and they throw you that round thing. I don't know how you call it. That
The
you
thing
know
that keeps you afloat, you mean?
yes,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
floater. It's the
Yeah,
floater.
whatever.
Yeah,
Listen,
whatever that
between the two of us,
we're bad.
we're still terrible.
We're bad. So listen,
I know exactly what you mean.
exactly right. So you understand me. So they send you that thing, and I was just hanging on to it. My life depended on this thing. So these women, they carried me.
Yeah.
They carried me. And with time, things are moving forward. And at some point, I went into a really, really deep depression. And I went into a very dark place, even darker than the one I think I came from. Because by that time, I had worked for years on this company, and now some other things was happening. And around that time, it's also when I was discovering a lot of what we talked about today about what makes a country rich. And for me to understand that um, my network, I was very much into left-oriented network, and to just start to see all of this, I tried to address it to realize that many of these people would prefer go running for the hills than accept for a moment that maybe capitalism might be part of a solution when many of them were involved in capitalism. So that was a hard time. At some point, I was, so many things were happening around that time that basically shook up everything for me. One is hard to talk about because it's very personal, and the person that I was having a problem with passed away last year, and I'm one to always say, leave the dead alone. So because of that, I won't speak about it. But there too, having a major fallout with somebody who was like a father figure for me, somebody that I completely trusted. And so at some point, you just ask yourself, was my whole life built on a lie? Right? And then you're confused, and then you become confused, and then at some point you lose 90% of your friends because of, ideologically speaking, it doesn't work anymore. Um, then you just wonder, have I have I been asleep this whole time? And then you start to wonder. Remember when you asked me, who am I? At some point, Lex, I literally was like a candle in the wind.
Yeah.
I felt like I was a candle in the wind. And it was very hard to come back from that. And people have a the few people I talk to about this, they have a hardest time understanding or even believing it because they're like, you? I'm like, yes, me. I used to be a candle in the wind.
What got you out? What made you overcome that?
My current husband.
Love?
Love. See, when I tell you love is the answer. But he came with love, but he also came with really helping me figure out the world. So with Michael, because that's him who we're talking about, Michael Strong.
This guy must be special.
He's so special. He's so special. So you have no idea how special he is. But Michael, the reason why I have such love, respect, and admiration for my husband, I'll never say it enough, is because actually it's one of those relationships that got built based on intellect first. You see, at some point, I was in the position where I could start a foundation after having built my first business. And all I wanted was an ability to power as many, especially women, African women entrepreneurs like me a few years ago, before then, to do something like I was able to do. Bring back to the world some really cool aspects of our culture, built into a really cool brand, 21st century type. That's what I wanted to do, because the more I could promote women like that and put steam behind them, and the more my dream and vision for a respected Africa, prosperous Africa would happen. Back then, that's what I wanted. And around me, this was also part of the whole crisis of ideologies I had back then. Everybody was like, well, we should be just doing grants. And I knew that my people didn't need grants. They didn't need like a handout. They don't want your charity. I didn't want charity. I wanted someone who could work with me on my accounting. I wanted somebody who could help me brainstorm marketing-wise. I wanted somebody, or I needed to raise money to pay my my research and development guy to help me, take the juices from my grandma's recipe to something that can be shelf stable. I needed coaching. These are all the things that I needed to make my dream happen. I didn't want you to give me some crap for free. That's not what I want. I just want to be able to build my business with all the things that business building needs. And so that's what I wanted to do. And it's what it was needed. And so, Michael, somebody found out about what I was doing, because back in the days in San Francisco, they would write a lot about me and everything. And so Michael, along with John Mackey, the founder of Whole Foods Market, they had a nonprofit called Flow. And it's all about human flourishing. They want for people, everybody, to get this choice, this ability to be able to get to a point in their life where they're in complete flow. It's Michael is the only one who can say that last name.
Yeah.
But the whole concept of flow. When you're in a state of flow, you're basically doing what you need, what you're supposed to do, the way you're supposed to do it, with the people you're supposed to. This whole concept of flow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's human flourishing at its highest. So so I meet with this man. Next, you're so okay. So he finds me. His people find me, and then there was a program where it was all about accelerating women entrepreneurs. So it's during these times that I'm starting now to see things. That's when actually all of this stuff that I noticed. How come here it takes me all of this time to start my business? Over there's 20 minutes. Here it's free. Over there's thousands of dollars. All of this nonsense that I just took. Oh, maybe it's just because we're messed up. We're poor. That's why everything is so messed up. Whoa. These people are introducing me to concepts. I'm like, first of all, oh, really? What did you call that? The doing business in the right? What is that? All of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to discover this whole other body of work. That the free markets, like this thing that I was sensing, this environment that I was sensing, that it was different around me. And that they called it the free markets over here and over there that. And then I started to butt head those ideas with the ideas that I was fed with before that. And the evidence won. And further, more than the evidence combined with my lived experience, it was so powerful. So I basically started understanding these ideas from the most visceral part of my body, of my being. And it made sense. So Michael helped me find the solution, the answer to my lifelong little girl's question of why do they have this and we don't? And how do some countries like mine be poor while others are rich? And with understanding all of that, the biggest sense of liberation came upon me. Like, I have no other word to describe that. True liberation, the liberation that comes from a peer, to finally understand and be vindicated in your own, understand, in your own deep knowing or feeling that what they're saying is not true. You're not the problem. It's not you. There's something else. And when I discovered that, my whole life changed. And since then, I've been very serious about going deeper and deeper and deeper into my understanding of all of this, understanding the subtlety. At some point, I was very angry about the liberators of Africa because I was like, yes, you helped liberate us, but just to keep us in this mechanism. I was angry for the longest time. And then eventually, you have to engage empathy and love, to put yourself in their shoes and try to understand the time at which they were living. And that got me onto a journey of trying to understand history more. That's how I understood. I was able to go beyond just these liberators and try to understand and rebuild the world around them at the micro, and at the macro level. Just really, you have to try to walk in their shoes. And from there, finally separate the baby with the bathwater. But they were not able to do back then. That's why today, I'm sorry, but I have no patience for the BLM organizers, founders, especially the founders. I don't know what the organizers think, but the founders told us what they stand for. And I say, guys, don't make that same mistake again. If you're serious about this, you cannot make that same mistake. The liberators of Africa, they have an excuse. We didn't know better. It was so easy back then to conflate everything. But today, you, me, anybody alive cannot with a straight face embrace Marxist socialist ideas, especially when they're claiming that they want people to thrive. No, you can't. I'm sorry. And I will hold your feet up to the fire on that one. I will. And that's what I'm doing. They will give me a lot of grief for this, but guess what? I could care less. Do you know why I could care less? Because we have an entire population to help rise out of poverty into prosperity, where they become, co-creators, global co-creators of innovation.
And those ideas give you hope for the place you love, for Senegal, for Africa.
They do. The world I live in, the new centers of culture and fashion are in Dakar. The new centers of tech and crypto even is somewhere maybe in Nigeria.
So you see that future. You see that future clearly.
I do.
It's a beautiful thing, and it's also beautiful to see that the space of these really powerful ideas is where you also found love.
Right?
So at the intersection.
Michael and I would spend hours talking about all of these ideas. And I would be like, but what about this? No, it doesn't make any sense. No, oh no. And then hours every single day for months, Lex.
Yeah.
And then from there, our love was born. Because I tell people, for us, love is not about looking each other in the eyes, like, they all think. But it's about, we look in one direction, and in this case, it's this vision, what we know to be possible and true. If only you liberate people. What we know to be true and possible. All of us are miracles walking around. Every time I get on a plane, it's a miracle of engineering. All the things we're able to do, now when they do operation on your teeth, how they're able to put the pain down away. All of this is us. You're working on these robots. This inside here.
Yeah, humans are amazing.
I know. So that's why when it works in great tandem with this guy.
Yeah.
These two working together.
Yeah.
Ooh, Watch
There's
out.
nothing we can't accomplish.
Nothing. Nothing.